Alright, so this is, I should have known it would say low battery, but yeah, I just plugged it in. I don't like to plug in the phone when it's charging, or to use the phone when it's charging, but I guess I have no choice right now. Excuse me. Alright, so let me get back on track here. Alright. Okay, I don't even know. I did not think it would take me this long to record this shit, so... Okay, alright, well let's get into it. Long story short, like, I'm gonna say what I was just saying in the last video. We had this, February 8th, we had this Mars in Capricorn, trine Uranus in Taurus. So there's all this shit that means. And I started to say some of it, but and I'll resume it, but the end result is basically like 54% good, in my opinion. So there's all this stuff that's like adding positives and negatives, but the end result is not that bad. And again, this Mars trine Uranus, we're not feeling it so much anymore. Mars moves pretty fast. At least, yeah. Or actually, I don't know how fast it moves, but you know, the planets seem to vary with that, and so on and so forth. But for like I was saying, it's going to be conjuncting that Venus most of this month. So in that respect, Mars and Venus are pretty much aligned for that a lot. But in terms of the 1 degree orb, like I said, this Mars trine Uranus, we were sort of done with that being the main feature around the 10th and the 11th. That's when it became Mercury conjunct Pluto, and now we're sort of in the middle of that also, as we approach Mars conjuncting Venus. So let me just pull back a bit to make this a bit more user friendly. So, okay, I'll mention this real quick. So that February 8th, Mars in Capricorn, trine Uranus in Taurus. You know, okay, hold on. Okay, so this part here is only really the only part worth mentioning. So to recap though, positive version of this Mars trine Uranus is fighting spirit gets boosted and people gain a sense of responsibility via the solidification of conviction and awakening. Okay, so you get boosted from being able to draw lines in the sand. Negative version of this is authority figures may be too dry or dictatorial or too radical. Okay. And some other shit that's going on with this is the same as why I said earlier why I focused so much on that February 1st. Because there was that Mars connection there with a new moon in happening there, and a stellium, a couple stelliums with that. So those were, one of the stelliums was Aquarius, and we said Aquarius is the 11th house, and here it's this trine is in the 11th degree, is when it is exact. Right, and so here's what I was saying in the last video. Mars is exalted in Capricorn, so it does its thing pretty good there. Uranus doesn't do its thing so well in Taurus, it falls there. And the nodal axis of Scorpio and Taurus, north-south node there, is happening. Uranus is exalted in Scorpio. Mars is the previous ruler of Scorpio. You got the 8th day connected to the 8th house energies, because this is happening on February 8th, so that 8th day being connected to the 8th house energies. And numerology connecting that number 8 to Saturn, which is Capricorn, which is what Mars is in with this trine. And then that other part, the Uranus and Taurus, well, that's resonating with the Taurus moon that's happening with that, which might not, which would balance out the possibly excessive Mars, whatever, and excessive Capricorn stuff, but only temporarily, because that's the moon, right? And then the Sun and Saturn here are conjunct from earlier on February 4th and squaring that moon that happened. And yeah, I think this trine happened also amid an 11th house stellium. So Sun, Saturn, Jupiter were all in the 11th house, I think, with the Sun and Saturn in Aquarius. While Jupiter was in Pisces, also in the 11th house, but its ruler Neptune was in Pisces in the 12th house. So part of our compassion energy might have been pulling us away to express our compassion in private or more in one-on-one situations. And also there was an ongoing minor triangle situation that seems to be gone by around now. Let me double check right now. Yeah, no, now we got this minor triangle is still going, and so that's basically I haven't gotten into that yet, but that's now having a second minor triangle happen with it, and forming a boat pattern, which there's a lot to be said about that. So before I get too off track, let me get back on track here. Alright, so fuck this other shit. It's too much. There's some data that's just not relevant, because I already got the end result, and this is already in the past. So let's just move on. But the main takeaway from this is that our fighting energy, fighting spirit, ability to draw lines in the sand, ability to have that mix with liberation itches, like there's some stuff that's on a societal level, stuff that is hold on a second, let me hit this more. It's just, I get distracted, you know, I live with roommates sometimes, like, they have, like, you know, sometimes it gets a bit noisy, a little bit here and there. So, um, yeah, the hiccups in this whole thing, it seems like the Sun conjunct Saturn on the 4th. That was in the 1 degree orb. Sun is authority figures. Saturn is like order and structure and law and stuff like that. Like, that happened 4th, 5th. And then, even before that, Mars trine Uranus, which is a good energy for the outlet of like Mars, in a way. You had Mars sextile Jupiter, and so that is opportunities to take action to draw those lines in the sand, but in a way that would combine wisdom or also hope and faith and luck. So it might have felt like, drew the line in the sand, but it turned out better than I thought it would, or something like that. Or you might have been able to draw upon more, of past experience to help you to fuel your present experience, to give you that motivation to be able to draw the lines in the sand. So that was in a 1 degree orb with that Mars sextile Jupiter for February 3rd, February 4th, February 5th, February 6th, and even before that that was blending in with Venus trine Uranus. So around the 1st, we were, even though people were going out and doing going to the protests and whatnot, getting a sense of hope that way, and a lot of that being informed by the Jupiter and Pisces stuff, in my opinion. You still had the areas you were getting liberated largely had to do with relationships and money. So having a more clear picture of that, like we said, Venus stopped going retrograde January 29th, so that was all systems go there. So we had love and money matters going, feeding some good energy into our ability to rebel or to find innovation or innovative solutions and stuff like that. That was, like I said, going strong February 1st, February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Okay, in terms of the 1 degree. So it's still, all of these are bleeding through more than that, but the maximum, like, climax area would have been around that. So we had relationships and liberation going good. We had Mars, our fighting style, being informed by hope at the exact same time that there might have been too much ego in the dissemination of order and structure via that Sun conjunct Saturn that I earlier said that was February 4th. And that thing was like a couple days, right? So again, once we get through that, Mars is done with Jupiter around the 5th and 6th. They're not done, but you know what I mean. And then on the 7th and 8th, you have the Mars trine Uranus that I just mentioned, which also brought more hope to being able to draw lines in the sand. And then that brings us to the February 10th and 11th, where the 1 degree orb of Mercury conjunct Pluto. And let me just scroll down here. So that might be a point where, and again, that's on the 11th day, which is a highly intuitive day, first of all, but also it's reminding us again of that Aquarius, that 11th house. And so a lot of things, Mercury retrograde just finished on February 3rd, I think it was, or some shit. and so that fog is still being lifted, but with the Mercury in Capricorn conjuncting that Pluto in Capricorn in the nice degree of 27, it's a good number, I think anyway. That is a point where we might have found out, which is Mercury, what really happened to various mysteries or with various mysteries or with situations that were up in the air just a few days ago. So that was yesterday, February 11th, 9:03 a.m. Eastern. And so also that could have meant we intuitively have X-ray vision, which is Pluto, or penetrating and grounded insight about a situation. So Pluto is like penetrating, and so Pluto is in Capricorn, which is an Earth sign, so that's where you get the grounded Mercury in Capricorn, Pluto in Capricorn. Another thing this could mean is thinking and speaking, or thinking or speaking or learning, which is Mercury, about power and control issues or transformation, which is Pluto. An intense, transformative speech. So speech is Mercury, transformative is Pluto. Pertaining to initiating new methods, which is cardinal, because these are both in Capricorn, which is cardinal. New methods of attaining order or structure, or new methods of upholding tradition, that's also Capricorn. And so that was yesterday, and but largely it's like intense speech and intense thoughts. If you're not speaking intensely, you're thinking intensely about things that need to be transformed. And so really about 9 hours later after this was when the moon entered the 29th degree of Gemini. So that would have been yesterday at 4:26 p.m. for a couple hours till around 6:27 p.m. when it entered Cancer. So all night, last night, after 6:30ish, we all feel like being more in quiet mode, or enjoying our house, or getting some rest and relaxation, or something like that. Maybe cooking, things of that nature. So yeah, we have right now, a boat aspect pattern, right? This happened basically 8 minutes ago, is when this really started to come into view, I think. And so you have this is asset bringing creative potential with this boat pattern. Actually, let me go back here. So the boat already contains two minor triangles, basically, and the minor triangle is kind of Mercury or Gemini energy, according to freehoroscopes.com. And the trine part is an asset bringing creative potential, and the two sextiles part is apparently communication and self-expression. I mean, that's according to them. So this Mercury Gemini communicative aspect, communicative situation with the minor triangle is happening twice right now. So just get this up here. Asset bringing creative potential via the trines. And so these trines would be that Mars trine Uranus. So that thing about hope that I said earlier, for fuck's sake, man, I'm too distracted by the fucking roommates. Like this, I can't work like this. All right, so apparently these minor triangles, apparently they're formed by a long part, which is a trine, which means easy flow from, in this case, Mars to Uranus. And in the other case of the other minor triangle that's in here at this exact time is from the moon to Jupiter. So right now, what that means is, well, first I'll describe the one without the moon, because that one's been going on for a while. And so basically you have Jupiter sextile Mars. Hold on. Yeah, Jupiter sextile Mars. That's within like 3 degrees now, whatever, so we're still feeling that. And that's the one that I mentioned was at 1 degrees, that stopped being in the 1 degree orb on the 6th. So what that means for the layman is like it stopped being really as much in your face on the 6th, but those energies are still there. And actually, Mars sextile Jupiter, if we look at the one that shows all the orbs, then we see that we're still feeling that on the 12th today. So, and maybe it starts to fade off a bit more tomorrow, but for the time being, we got that a little bit of a lingering of that Mars sextile Jupiter. So in this case, that means that you can take action to combine your fighting style with hope, or hope with fighting style. And this hope is coming from this hope being in Pisces. So it might be tough love that you're given, or something like that. Because Pisces is compassion, right? So you can combine being compassionate with being fighting with the person a little bit. But you would only feel like what you would feel like doing that more if that Mars was not opposing the moon. So the moon is completely opposite to Mars at this time. So the moon is the home. The moon is where we find our emotional security right now. It's in Cancer, which it rules. So the moon rules Cancer, and it's in Cancer, and at this particular area, it's in Cancer in the 4th house, which is which Cancer is all about anyway. So there's nothing but Cancer energies right now in the fourth house, at least if you're in Ottawa. That means the fourth house means the home. So the home really, really wants to be quiet and have quiet time right now. But but Mars doesn't give a fuck about that right now. And Mars is trying to boost its reputation right now in the fucking 10th house. Okay? And or at least it appears like it's in the 10th house from this graph. From this this chart here. And so there's got to be some sort of compromise between, you know, doing the Mars thing, which we said Mars is exalted in Capricorn. So the fact that it's in Capricorn while it's opposing all this moonish, you know, Cancer energy is interesting. It's like they both got something, they're both fighting equally. And the thing is, they're both impacted by a different minor triangle. And again, in the case of the one of them is what I just mentioned about that getting your hope and optimism, which is Jupiter from compassion or illusions, having those areas mixed with your fighting style and being able to take action that'll make you get to a different position. The only action you can take with that minor triangle is that, with combining the hope and combining the fighting, but also the other sextile, which is combining the hope with Uranus, which is innovation and liberation and awakening. So you might feel more hopeful just from the fact that you woke up to what you value, because Uranus is in Taurus and Taurus is about values. So so there are actions you can take which would combine that hope via compassion with the long-term liberation itch. So, and if you do that, then that long-term liberation itch, since it'll have more of that hope, that'll naturally make it have a stronger connection with that Mars, which is trining. We said Uranus was trining Mars. Now, at the same time, Uranus is squaring Saturn right now. So, order and structure, it's trying to be done in a way that's taking the group into account and being humanitarian about it, but that's rubbing our long-term liberation itch the wrong way right now. But the thing is, where that's happening in that Uranus, that's the focal point of this other minor triangle. Now, both of these minor triangles could also be like a wedge pattern as well. So I guess what I should also say is that this hope via the compassion. Hold on, let me. Okay. This hope via the compassion is going to be having energy that naturally gets informed by the moon, or where we get our emotional security from right now. So we said that's opposite to the Mars. So our fight, we're not comfortable with fighting right now, but what we are comfortable with is how hopeful we are. And we can kind of ride on that hope to allow us to combine that hope with adequate fighting measures. And on the flip side, any kind of fighting measures we do to draw line, or maybe just draw lines in the sand, or even it doesn't have to be fighting. It could be just exploring your passions without giving a shit if people think that what you're passionate about is stupid. Like it could be something like that. Okay. So right now, we could be feeling like the way we're drawing lines in the sand is making us emotionally uncomfortable, which is because of that opposition to the moon. But the way we're drawing lines in the sand is giving us a feeling of long-term scratching that liberation itch, like something that's like intergenerational or for society, or that has like a greater good type of thing. That kind of thing is fueling our ability to not feel so bad about drawing lines in the sand. Okay? So knowing that, then we can know that makes that energy of the long-term liberation itch, and the fact that this is more than just about you and shit like that, even though it's in Uranus and Taurus, which is Taurus is all about their own survival and shit like that, and not so much societal, but it's Uranus energy, and so you can use that sense of you're fighting for something greater than yourself or whatever, to make you feel more comfortable about the fact that the way you're being seen fighting is not making you emotionally comfortable. Like you don't want it. But it's, again, with these oppositions, it's often about integration or compromise. So you don't want to go with one or the other, but there's so much going on here, and there's so much that's resting on actions you can take in 3 different areas. One area is that combining the emotional world and your intuition with awakening, and being like, okay, I woke up about a thing, but my intuition might be telling me to like get started on something about it. Like, I think Cancer is cardinal, so that's starting things. Right, so that could be an action from the Uranus sextile the moon, this part of this. I think it's Uranus sextile the moon. Let me see here. Yeah. So, and then you got also Uranus sextile Jupiter, which I mentioned, right? So gaining, taking actions that are more based on faith and the greater good. And the need for freedom. So that's the other area that the action rests on, and that area is the one that combines the two minor triangles that are in this, and by default the 2 wedge patterns, I think they are. So in other words, when you're able to do that, that makes all the other stuff, when you're able to do it from a long-term view about having compassion for everyone, that's Jupiter in Pisces, and also wanting to liberate your bodily integrity, that's Uranus in Taurus. If you do those things, that'll make the other stuff, it's a lot more short-term. That'll make those things easy by default, but your attention is going to be on those things that are there, the Mars and the Moon, because that's where all the tension is. That plus what I said about the Saturn square Uranus, but that's that is what it is. So yeah, there, in terms of the trine being an asset bringing creative potential, the one that is part of the minor triangle involving Jupiter and Mars and Uranus, which means hope and fighting style and liberation itch, is hold on, that was pretty wordy. Let me smoke this. See, my concern is by the time I upload this and the other 2 or 3 videos I just recorded, then this shit that I'm saying now might be out of date. But only one way to find out, and that's to fast forward this by 6 hours. And yeah, after 6 hours, it's like kind of getting out of there. Maybe 1 hour before that. So 5 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours, 8, really till 9:08. So it's 8:25 a.m. and around like 9:08 is when this boat pattern starts to fade away. Maybe not 9:08. Let me fast forward 10 minutes. Yeah, but it sucks. I should be recording this live, but you know, I didn't. But I don't know, maybe in the future it'll be more timely like that. But anyway, so, but I pretty much said everything about this pattern I think that I needed to say. There's some other shit going on. There's a lot of other shit I already wrote down for other stuff that's after that, so I can get into that. That might be more relevant. Let me see if I can do that, because we're at 37 minutes here. We're around 50 something minutes. It'll cut me off again. Alright, okay, so let me see if what I want to wrap up saying about this this pattern here. Hold on. 10:08, 11:08. Alright, 18:26 or 8:26, that's what we're at now. Alright, so okie dokie. So the other thing should be said that any minor triangle will be, we said that would be Mercury Gemini type energy according to freehoroscopes.com. But they also say the boat will be Mercury Saturn energy. So they're saying this configuration enables the individual to get down to a task patiently and complete it successfully, work in isolation from the rest of the world and other influences, create a plan or develop situations that will fulfill certain aspirations in the long term. The transits of the planets in opposition should be studied in particular to anticipate the launching or formalization of projects or plans. So hopefully that's what I'm doing right now, is putting this out in a timely manner and being not too susceptible to any external noise around me or whatever, right? But so yeah, that is the main thing, is that opposition with Mars versus the moon. So Mars is like, you know, fuck you, I'm gonna do what I want. That's like Mars rules Aries. so they just do what they want to do. But you know, the moon is rules Cancer, and Cancer is more sensitive and, you know, likes to take into account people's feelings more and things like that. So it's hard to get those things, you know, reconciled a little bit. But also, what's making it harder is that they're opposites. They're in, the Mars is in Capricorn, and Capricorn's opposite to Cancer. So the good things, the easy things that don't require action from that Cancer energy, that moon in Cancer, sensitive ass energy that we're in right now, the energy that does benefit that is the Jupiter and Pisces energy. So if we need to feel like we're making progress and growing and in a place where we can get lucky or whatever, we're getting those things from the realm of water, from the realm of emotions and feeling things out and vibes and stuff like that. So that's smoothing out our emotions by default. The other thing, as I said earlier, the Uranus trine Mars. Mars is in Capricorn, Uranus is in Taurus. So the stuff we're fighting about, at least we're keeping grounded about how we're fighting, for the most part, and the stuff we're fighting about in terms of long-term issues, which is Uranus's long-term, is also Earth, is also Taurus. Practicality, money, people lost their businesses. You know, like someone was saying, 6-year-olds are telling their parents they want to die and shit like that. So these are practical things. Like, you're not gonna. There's no way to talk anybody out of giving a shit that their 6-year-old child wants to kill themselves. There's no way to fast talk that shit. So if you have any Jupiter and Pisces compassion energy at all, then that shit will be, you know, understood or whatever. So that's happening with this boat pattern, and the dissemination of order and structure, and the exercise of authority. You know, that's Saturn and the Sun. They're both in Uranus. I mean, they're both in Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus. So there's a possibility of being too elitist with the way order and structure is carried out, or too much by the book, or too much logic, or whatever. But at the same time, there's a possibility of genuinely wanting everybody to be on the same page, which is a good thing. And even though it's squaring that Uranus in Taurus, like I said. So, but that's been, I feel like that's been going on for a while. If I fast forward, let me see, if I rewind a week, do we still have that? Uranus squaring Saturn, yeah. So, you know, that's not that new, and so yeah, I think that's all to be said about this boat aspect pattern. A good time to work in isolation right now, and a good time to know that there are 3 different areas of sextiles and opportunities and actions that people can take right now. So here's the thing, like, you'll feel more hopeful to make moves and take actions if you don't feel like it's such a chaotic outside atmosphere, and any opposition is usually outside circumstances that promote the integration of that opposite stuff. So So once you can recognize, that, and just do, and then and see how those things can be integrated or compromised, then you can feel hopeful about taking actions in other areas. Uh, yeah. Otherwise, you might be more prone to getting into the projection areas of that Jupiter in Pisces, which is not so good. And you might be more prone to having that spill over into Pisces season when we get into that on February 18th. So, okay, so let's rewind a bit. So that was the boat aspect pattern, which is finishing up pretty damn soon. Let me just ask my pendulum, actually, if there's anything that I need to, according to my higher self, is there anything else I should say about this boat aspect pattern right now? Left is yes, right is no. That pretty much is what I said about it, pretty much accurate. Left is yes, right is no. Okay, so what else we got here? Right now is the 12th, and we're starting to feel that Venus-Mars coming more into view. Venus conjunct Mars, and that's going to happen on the 16th. Right now, one second. So where's that 13th? Okay, so not much is changing, not too many aspects changing until not too much new stuff on the horizon, maybe. At least in terms of the 1 degree orb thing. Let me expand that to the 3 degree. Venus conjunct Mars. Okay, yeah. Okay, so all right, let's get into this. Okay, so for the 13th. No new aspect is developing then. Like we had Mercury conjunct Pluto on the 11th, and I mean there's some stuff happening with aspects to North Node or Lilith, but I'm not covering those. And then so if you were only going by planets, you got Mars trine Uranus on the 8th, and you got Mercury conjunct Pluto on the 11th, and then Venus conjunct Mars on the 16th, and Jupiter sextile Uranus on the 17th. So part of what we just discussed, I think, was that Jupiter sextile Uranus. So that part of the boat is not going to fade away anytime soon. But yeah, so. And then we got that Mars sextile Neptune on the 23rd. Okay, so just kind of worried when this thing will run out of time. Alright, so I think I'm just going to mention what the bullet points I got for this, and then cover the oh man, okay. you know what? I think I should just end this at this point and then pick up. Like maybe take a break and record this other shit later, because I think we got far enough here. If we got to, this has been not so much a forecast then, but like a forecast that I never got around to putting out fast enough, and now I'm putting out, and it's sort of like more of a retrospective view of what's been happening with the truckers and how that's been blending in with the astrology. But hopefully that was because I know this thing is at 51 minutes now. It's going to cut me off when it gets to 55 or some shit. It's ridiculous. But it's at the same time it should be discussed. This Venus conjunct Mars. I mean, that's what I was saying earlier, that this is a potential tower card situation here. I don't want to say for sure, but you know, with all the 16s, with the 16 degree on the February 16th, with a full moon the same day. So yeah, let me think about this. Okay, according to my higher self, should I just end the video now and cover this other stuff later? Left is yes, right is no. Okay, I'm just going to end it now. So again, I am available for tarot readings and astrology readings. So check out my website, potentnews.com, and to see the other material that I got on there. I'm pretty proud of the stuff that I put on the bottom of the website. So check out some of my personal stuff there. And send me a message here on Instagram or through the website's contact form to if you are interested in purchasing a tarot or astrology reading. And again, I'll remind you that disclaimer again, none of the information in these videos has been legal advice or financial advice or medical advice. For anything like that, go to a professional, and I could have been wrong in describing the energies, so you know your decisions going forward are karmically on you. But yeah, hopefully once I take a break and grab some food or something, or maybe try this again tomorrow, I'll be able to cover some of the other stuff that's going on with that